Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony will begin in 2 minutes. We kindly request that you please take your seats and silence all cell phones. During the ceremony, please feel free to move forward and take pictures.
I've been searching for love since that day that I was born.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the entrance of the official party. Please be seated. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Auburn Army ROTC's Spring 2022 Commissioning Ceremony. Today's ceremony marks the culmination of years of ROTC training and the formal transition from cadet to commissioned officer. Auburn University has hosted the Reserve Officers Training Corps since the program's inception in 1916. However, Auburn has been producing officers since 1872, making 2022 our 150th anniversary of commissioning officers for the United States Army. This lineage continues with this group seated before you. Please stand for the playing of the national anthem and remain standing for the invocation given by Cadet Chaplain Caleb Kreitz.
As I look back on the past 4 years that we have spent together as a class, I'm filled with gratitude. We stand here today about to embark on a great journey, not by our own strength and ability, but by the matchless and unmeasurable strength of our Lord. We have done some great things the past 4 years, but we all know that it's not about the what, but about the who behind those things. To our parents, to our cadre and professors, to our friends, we say thank you. Please join me in a moment of prayer. Heavenly Father, you are perfect and holy and worthy of all praise. We ask that you be with us here and now as we enjoy the blessing of this sweet and rewarding day. We ask that you guide and protect our commissioning class as we serve our country in times of peace and in times of war. Give us the confidence and humility to count others more significant than ourselves. I thank you for the people in this room that have made this amazing moment possible by their countless love and support. We love you, Lord, and we give you all the glory, for you alone deserve it. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Please be seated. It is my honor to introduce to you the commander of the War Eagle Battalion and professor of military science, Lieutenant Colonel Nathaniel F. Conkey.
Good morning, team. Just quickly off script, I just want everybody to pick your heads up and look around at this facility filled with so many amazing people, family and friends, and just absorb that just for a moment. I remember being told that at a wedding, my wedding, that you needed to just soak it in every once in a while, and that's what I'd just like you to do real quick. This is powerful. So quickly, thank you, John, for that intro. A heartfelt welcome to Major General Davis, Major General Martin, university faculty and students who made it out here, all our amazing partners from across campus, like those from kinesiology, track team, admissions, and alumni affairs, to my equivalent professor of military science from the Air Force program, Tron, cadets and cadre, and certainly all the friends and family gathered with us, both online and in person here today. I especially want to acknowledge and thank all the former service members and Soldiers for Life who make up that last group. The desire to serve is a strong tradition with many of our families. So to the moms, dads, sisters, brothers with time in uniform, thanks for being a great example so that our cadets, part of our family, would feel the same pull to service. I'll continue with what could be a quite lengthy list of thank yous. But first, hats off to all the families that are here in attendance or watching online. You're the ones who really made today happen, just over a much longer period of time. Cadets, and I can call you that for about another 10 minutes or so, can you please help me give all of your families a huge round of applause? And in this more immediate time and space, individual efforts cannot go unrecognized. First, my right-hand man, Master Sergeant Matt Decker. The easiest of your jobs is setting something up as grand as today. Your hardest job is keeping me in check on the daily. I'm running out of times I can say thank you, but thanks again. Yeah. Our fearless executive officer waiting in the wings and master of ceremonies today, Lieutenant Colonel John Drew, continuing to plan, resource, coordinate, liaise, and now execute as only you can do. Thank you very much, John. Can you give me another round? And this isn't from yelling at cadets, by the way. This is from yelling at Sandhurst this last weekend and 7 and 8-year-olds playing baseball, so I apologize. We also just heard from our very own Caleb Kreitz. Caleb's our cadet battalion chaplain. Powerful and humbling words, as always. Thank you, Caleb. You've been in... Okay. You've been an incredible resource for the program and will be missed. This world-class setting, and I was ready to say indoor setting because that was going to be really powerful today, considering we're supposed to be 100% showers right now, but knock on wood, we'll get out of here, still be dry, but still actually super nice and glad to be indoors in the climate-controlled facility. But the Gouge Performing Arts Center, absolutely amazing. Thank you to our hosts here. You're worthy of amazing praise, so thank you. We hold dear all our relationships on campus and in the community, and we are so thankful to your continued support of Army ROTC and our people. I do need to talk to the group of folks sitting up here front and center, and that's our cadets, soon to be lieutenants. You're about to hear from a far wiser and far more experienced, far better speaker than myself, so I'm going to keep this relatively short. I was trying to type out some remarks, not last night. I was not typing last night. But I couldn't quite get past this first part in my mind without allergies, or as Major Morris would say, the sunlight getting in my eyes. But really, it's because of the emotion. It's taking control of me and taking control of the moment. And I'm going to ride with it. Because thinking of you leaving Auburn for the, quote, real Army made me truly reflect and appreciate all that what you've done for Auburn and for the War Eagle Battalion and its people. No bar was or is too high, and no challenge too tough. We asked you to be all in, and you crushed it. Words like servant leadership are not just a phrase to you. You've lived it. Legacy, you're leaving it. And while a sweet new set of squat racks out front of Nichols would be a good reminder of the class of 2022, Jamie, I'm looking at you. Where are you at? He's around here somewhere. He's in charge of that. It's nothing physical that you're leaving behind. It's the blood, sweat, and tears you've collectively poured into this program, your development as leaders, and along the way, and in doing so, also bettering the future teams you all will soon lead. Your metaphoric jersey is in a far better place than when you first put it on. The War Eagle Battalion, all of Auburn, and myself up here on the mic, thank you. You've set a new high bar for yourselves and for the class of 2023 behind you. And speaking of setting a high standard, it's time for me to introduce to you our guest speaker for today's commissioning, Major General Johnny Davis. I first met General Davis aboard the Mighty Mo, the USS Missouri, docked in Pearl Harbor. Another ROTC program, we'll call them Auburn West, had General Davis out as the guest speaker for their commissioning ceremony. I was immediately struck by his authenticity as a leader, his powerful message to all in attendance, and his genuine interest in all the people he talked to that day. Sir, I was thrilled when I realized you'd be my boss and I'd get to personally benefit from that leadership. Since then, your clear intent and guidance, paired with quite wide left and right limits, has empowered me and all of us to achieve amazing results. That proof can be seen in the eyes of these 31 awesome young men and women before us today. So thank you, sir. To anyone in the audience, I'll direct your attention to your program for his official and full biography, but a little more about General Davis. He commissioned in 1989 from the ROTC program of New Mexico Military Institute and has served our Army for the past 33 years as a career infantryman. Also a proud husband and father of 6 young ladies, he's commanded every imaginable formation and usually prone to doing so in a forward deployed and combat-oriented posture. He served in diverse and rewarding positions from Korea to Kuwait and from the Old Guard to Futures Command. At every challenge, he saw an opportunity, and at every opportunity, he's hit a home run. Sir, we're looking forward to today's home run and a few words to set these lieutenants on their path. So ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the Commanding General of the United States Army Cadet Command and my leader, Major General Davis.
Well, good morning, everyone. I know he commented about having 6 daughters. That's true. I'm so glad I'm here. I'm very, as my wife and I do have to share, our oldest is 31 all the way to 10. Oldest 2013 West Point grad. She's out in Hawaii commanding her company, loves it, field artillery officer. Second daughter, Marine, 100% Marine. I mean, the tattoos, how she answers me, how she talks to me, it's everything. So it's, and we got 4 more still at the house. So there's a lot going on. I'm very comfortable with my feminine side. And with the 10-year-old, what I've learned when you have, large family, the youngest, I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm older. Mom and I are older. I'm not saying we spoil her, but I think we do. And so our other 5 daughters, I believe, deep down are trying to plan to throw her down the well like Joseph. So I just want to say to everyone, it is so great to be here. I just want to recognize a few special guests. Well, first of all, we have so many special guests who are here to be present for this wonderful ceremony. But I think I just had the opportunity to see General Martin and his lovely wife. It's good seeing you here, Deputy Adjutant General for Alabama, and thanks for taking the time. Of course, Nate, it's such a pleasure to be here. I think I have 8 commissionings planned for the next 3 weeks, so I will be on the road a lot. His lovely wife, Colonel Kate Conkey, that was my first commissioning ceremony as a Colonel Promotable. You're absolutely right. And what a small world to come full circle 5 years later and do the same for her husband and their family. And then, of course, Master Sergeant Matt Decker. It's great to have you here, and your lovely wife, Tricia. And you also have, all between the two of you, 4 children, and Nate Conkey, another 3. So there's a future infantry squad in the making right there. Okay, War Eagle. I promise I'll try to keep that under 100 times during my speech. I know what it is like this morning in the hotel. So in the hotel this morning, everybody's branded in the War Eagle gear. So I'm in the elevator with my uniform. I'm headed to this wonderful ceremony, and there's a family. I guess lovely mom and dad, proud mom and dad. They're here for their son, who's going to graduate tomorrow. And so I walk into the elevator with them, and the husband says, well, you look pretty spiffy today. I said, yeah, well, thanks, sir, thanks. Well, thank you for your service. I said, sir, I love every day. And then he says, how's the Air Force doing? I was like, oh, that hurt right there. 70 years ago, the Lord took a rib from the Army and made the Air Force. And that still hurts to this very day. So I said, I think the Air Force is doing great, sir, but I think the Army's doing better today. So ROTC, scope and scale. Let me just give you an idea. Today I'm here for this very special ceremony at Auburn. But across this wonderful nation, your nation, over 1,000 universities, starting this week and over the next 2 weeks, we will commission over 6,300 second lieutenants in the United States Army. And they're going to join this force, and they're going to lead our nation into the future. And I'm so proud of all of them throughout this huge program, 30,000 cadets across the nation. And today I'm here to be with you. And I couldn't say no to Nate. It was just, there's so many different invites I get, but today, Nate, it's a pleasure to be here with all of you. And, when I look at it, Auburn University has been producing outstanding officers for our nation since 1872. It's amazing to think that this school has been producing great leaders for 150 years. I'd like to take a moment to highlight some of the remarkable statistics about your cadets. So Auburn ROTC was number 1 in the ROTC 6th Brigade. I have 8 brigades across the nation for performance at Cadet Summer Training last year. The Auburn program holds the champion title for the 2021-2022 6th Brigade Ranger Challenge and the 2021-2022 Auburn Commanders Cup. The U.S. Army awarded $202.48 million in scholarships to Auburn cadets last year alone. I have the largest scholarship account in the United States, $340 million, and it is here to invest in our future, to all those wonderful men and women who chose to serve our nation. 11 of these cadets received the Reconnaissance Commando Badge at Cadet Summer Training. So you might think, what is a Recondo Badge? Well, each of these cadets who were awarded scored 90% or higher on the land navigation test. They successfully located 5 out of 6 points on the land navigation course. They qualified as a sharpshooter or better at the rifle range. They received a first-time go on first aid, chemical, and field artillery tasks. They completed a 6-mile foot march in 90 minutes or less. Pretty impressive, huh? And boy, are your cadets in shape. At this year's third annual Army Combat Fitness Test competition at Fort Benning, several Auburn ROTC members set records. Cadet Sherrard placed first out of 28 hand-selected soldiers and officers. This achievement is quite impressive for several reasons. For starters, Auburn University was the only school with cadets at the competition. This means your young cadets were competing against active duty soldiers, and Cadet Sherrard beat them all. Congrats, Cadet Sherrard. Cadet Hardin set records in the power throw, 16.7 meters, and deadlift, 470 pounds. Cadet Thomas won the sprint drag carry in 1 minute and 18 seconds. Now, let me give you an idea what that is. So 50-something-year-old guy, you'd be lucky to get me across the line in like 4 minutes with 2 pulled hamstrings. But he did it in 1 minute and 18 seconds. And then setting the example, their professor of military science, Nate Conkey, set a record in the plank, 4 minutes and 15 seconds. So Nate, thanks for leading the way out there. I'm not going to do 4 minutes and 15 seconds. I'm exceptionally proud to be with you today to celebrate this significant occasion, not only for the cadets here, but for our nation as a whole. Auburn University has produced some of our nation's best leaders, like master's degree recipient, U.S. Army, General Retired, and Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. I was his aide about 12 years ago as a lieutenant colonel in Iraq. I never thought to this day he would be our Secretary of Defense. Master's degree recipient, U.S. Army General Hugh Shelton, 14th Chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff. Master's degree recipient, U.S. Army General Richard Myers, 15th Chairman, Joint Chiefs of Staff. Bachelor of Arts recipient and ROTC alum, U.S. Army Lieutenant General Ron Burgess, 17th Director of the Defense Intelligence Agency. Bachelor of Science recipient, ROTC alum, U.S. Army Colonel Jim Voss, NASA astronaut. Flew in space 5 times on a space shuttle and International Space Station. And of course, Coach Ralph Shug Jordan, Auburn's very own head coach from 1951 to 1975. I simply don't have the time to mention all the outstanding Auburn graduates who have made significant and lasting contributions and communities across America. This is indeed an outstanding and accomplished program. How lucky am I to be visiting such an outstanding program, and what a privilege it is to honor these cadets today. Today we honor 32 remarkable cadets. I want to turn to the family and friends of these fine young men and women. I appreciate all of your efforts in making a point to be here, your investment in our future. You have already made a great contribution to your country by instilling in these cadets the value and discipline of hard work and the importance of service to our great nation. Your guidance and support has led each of these cadets to this important moment in their lives. Without you, these cadets would not be standing here today. I'm keenly aware of the pride and honor you must feel for these future leaders who will soon be responsible for America's most precious resource, our men and women in uniform. My daughters will serve alongside them. But they didn't get here on their own, so I want to turn now to the faculty and staff of this great institution and recognize them for their time, knowledge, and energy in preparing these future leaders for what lies ahead. We can't thank you enough. To the cadre, faculty, and staff of the ROTC program, your efforts set these young officers on the road to successful leadership. Thank you. Commissioning ceremonies mark an important milestone when our nation passes the mantle of leadership and trust to a new officer. It is the culmination of a challenging military science curriculum and many months of summer training, mentorship, and leadership development. Cadets, congratulations on all you have accomplished. You should all be proud of these efforts. I know the rest of us are. I just want to provide a few words of advice. After 30 plus years of service, and the young young kid in inner city Milwaukee who felt this desire to serve our nation and then pursued that desire and what I've learned through that wonderful journey. First, stay positive. No matter what occurs, we all know you will all be tested. Stay positive. Love your Army and your soldiers. Whatever it takes, take care of them. Pay it forward. Invest in those on your left and right. Many have invested. I would not be here without those investing in me throughout my journey. I ask you to do the same. Invest in those to your left and right. And be humble. You're going to have a wonderful career. But even at the highest ranks, don't think that you can't be humble. Stay humble. And don't forget about your family. Your family will be beside you throughout your entire military career. And finally, relationships matter. You never know who you will run into years from now. You know, I look back on my time as a cadet and a small class, just like yours, a little under 30 commissionees. But in that group, some of my best friends, I still remember young cadet Dusty Schultz. She and I were in a Ranger Challenge team and had a great time. She is now Major General Dusty Schultz and the Deputy Commanding General for the U.S. Army Reserve. Brigadier General Mike Aguilar, was a cadet with me. We shared a few classes together. Now he is the Deputy Adjutant General, soon to be Adjutant General for the state of New Mexico. So relationships matter. So I share this with you because you will also see the same thing throughout your career. You will all attend BOLIC. You'll see each other at Commanding General Staff College, Army War College. Continue to maintain your friendship. All military officers begin their careers with an oath. The oath is simple and deliberate, unconditional pledging loyalty not to any individual or party, but to the United States Constitution. In a moment, you will take this solemn oath, and the future of our military and nation will come to rest in your hands as an officer. Cadets, soon to be officers, I extend to you my sincere thanks and thanks of the American people. Thank you for choosing to be part of something bigger than yourself. I'm proud of you and what you have already accomplished. I look forward to the excellent leadership and character you will bring to the United States military. So congratulations again. I wish you every success on your journey. May God bless each and every one of you. May God continue to bless the United States of America. Thank you. Leadership, excellence, Army strong.
Major General Davis, thank you so much for your time and inspirational message. The War Eagle Battalion is truly honored to have your support. Please accept this small memento as a token of our appreciation. Being presented is an Auburn football signed by the commissioning class of 2022. The oath for commissioning officers was established by the Continental Congress in 1776 during the Revolutionary War. The original version stated that officers acknowledge the 13 United States of America to be free, independent, and sovereign states, and declare that the people thereof owe no allegiance or obedience to George III, King of Great Britain. The first oath under the Constitution was approved by Act of Congress on 29 September 1789. This version of the oath is still being used today.
which I'm about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations.
At this time, those officers selected for the National Guard will take the state oath of office. With such a large number of our graduates electing to serve in the National Guard, it is our extreme privilege to have the state oath administered by the Deputy Adjutant General of the State of Alabama, Major General Jerry Martin.
I state your name. Do solemnly swear. That I will support and defend. The Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of. Against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance. To the same. That I will obey the orders of the President of the United States. And the Governor of the State of. That I make this obligation freely. Without any mental reservations. Or purpose of evasion. And that I will well and faithfully discharge. The duties of the office of. In the Army National Guard of the state. Of which I am about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations. Right. Ace. Forward. March.
At this time, each second lieutenant will receive their rank and be rendered their first salute.
The salute is a long-held tradition of showing respect, a courteous exchange of greetings with the junior member always saluting first. For a newly commissioned officer, the first salute is a gesture of appreciation to an enlisted member's guidance and mentoring along the journey to becoming an officer.
Second Lieutenant Burke, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Joel Burke is from Huntsville, Alabama. He is branched to the infantry in the active component. Mr. James Burke and Mrs. Angela Burke will pin Second Lieutenant Burke, and Master Sergeant Decker will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Butler, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Kiara Butler is from Panama City, Florida. She is branched to the Quartermaster Corps in the Reserve Component. Mrs. Danita Butler and Miss Brianna Butler will pin Second Lieutenant Butler, and Master Sergeant Retired Butler will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Cranford, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Elena Cranford is from Smyrna, Tennessee. She is branched to the Corps of Engineers in the National Guard. Mr. Alan Cranford and Mrs. April Cranford will pin Second Lieutenant Cranford, and Sergeant First Class Retired Cranford will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Crowther, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Michael Crowther is a distinguished military graduate from Franklin, Tennessee. He is branched to the infantry in the National Guard. Mr. Bradford Crowther and Mrs. Catherine Crowther will pin Second Lieutenant Crowther, and Sergeant First Class Glover will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Datum, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Jackson Datum is from Foley, Alabama. He is branched to the infantry in the National Guard. Mr. Chris Datum and Miss Bailey Weber will pin Second Lieutenant Datum, and Sergeant Datum will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Donahue, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Shannon Donahue is a distinguished military graduate from Atlanta, Georgia. She is branched to aviation in the active component. Mr. John Donahue and Mrs. Helen Donahue will pin Second Lieutenant Donahue, and the former Sergeant Miller will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Fico, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Tristan Fico is from Lumberton, North Carolina. He is branched to the Ordnance Corps, EOD, in the active component. Mrs. Katie Fico and Mrs. Sean Fico will pin Second Lieutenant Fico, and First Sergeant Retired Sibley will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Graham, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Jackson Graham is from Alexander City, Alabama. He is branched to Field Artillery in the active component. Mr. Jeff Graham and Mrs. Amanda Graham will pin Second Lieutenant Graham, and the former Airman Second Class Graham will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Hernandez, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Carlos Hernandez is from Auburn, Alabama. He is branched to the Ordnance Corps in the reserve component. Mr. Sergio Hernandez and Mrs. Isela Hernandez will pin Second Lieutenant Hernandez, and Corporal Flodstrom will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Hunt, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Carrington Hunt is a distinguished military graduate from Southern Pines, North Carolina. He is branched to the Signal Corps in the active component. Lieutenant Colonel Dennis Hunt and Mrs. Lindsay Hunt will pin Second Lieutenant Hunt, and Petty Officer Second Class Retired Hunt will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Jerger, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Evelyn Jerger is from St. Petersburg, Florida. She is branched to the Transportation Corps in the active component. Mr. Adam Jerger and Mrs. Lori Jerger will pin Second Lieutenant Jerger, and Master Sergeant Decker will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Jewett, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Jacob Jewett is a distinguished military graduate from Cumming, Georgia. He is branched to the Corps of Engineers in the National Guard. Mr. Larry Jewett, Miss Maddie Jewett, and Miss Lily Jewett will pin Second Lieutenant Jewett, and Sergeant First Class retired Rayoon will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Crowley, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Carl Crowley is from Houston, Texas. He is branched to the Armor in the active component. Mrs. Mi Jung Jung and Mr. Samuel Wentz will pin Second Lieutenant Crowley, and Staff Sergeant Benitez will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Kreitz, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Caleb Kreitz is a distinguished military graduate from Montgomery, Alabama. He is branched to the infantry in the National Guard. Mr. Darren Kreitz and Mrs. Christy Kreitz will pin Second Lieutenant Kreitz, and Master Sergeant Decker will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Larson, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Trent Larson is a distinguished military graduate from Yorba Linda, California. He is branched to the Quartermaster Corps in the active component. Mr. Jeff Larson and Mrs. Terry Larson will pin Second Lieutenant Larson, and the former Sergeant Larson will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant McGraw, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Seth McGraw is from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He is branched military intelligence in the active component. Mr. Andrew McGraw and Mrs. Rebecca McGraw will pin Second Lieutenant McGraw, and Master Sergeant Decker will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Miller, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Adam Miller is from Lake in the Hills, Illinois. He is branched to the infantry in the active component. Mr. Joe Miller and Mrs. Patty Miller will pin Second Lieutenant Miller, and Master Sergeant Smothers will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Park, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Hyuk Park is from Bundaegu, South Korea. He is branched to the Transportation Corps in the Reserve Component. Mr. I.K. Park, Ms. Jin Sil Wong will pin Second Lieutenant Park, and Specialist Wynn will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Sage, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Austin Sage is from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. He is branched to Field Artillery in the active component. Mr. Michael Sage and Petty Officer Second Class Retired Tom Sage will pin Second Lieutenant Sage, and Petty Officer Second Class Retired Sage will also render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Schlossberg, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Jack Schlossberg is a top 10% active duty and distinguished military graduate from Ellicott City, Maryland. He is branched to the Ordnance Corps, EOD, in the active component. Mr. Joel Schlossberg and Mrs. Leslie Schlossberg will pin Second Lieutenant Schlossberg, and the former Sergeant Schlossberg will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Scoggins, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Colton Scoggins is a distinguished military graduate from Huntsville, Alabama. He is branched to the Ordnance Corps in the National Guard. Captain Brantley Scoggins and Miss Lauren Zaragoza will pin Second Lieutenant Scoggins, and Specialist Tomlinson will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Sherrod, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Andrew Sherrod is a top 10% active duty and distinguished military graduate from Birmingham, Alabama. He is branched to the Signal Corps in the active component. Mr. David Sherrod and the former Captain Alex Sherrod will pin Second Lieutenant Sherrod, and Master Sergeant Decker will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Shoestack, please come forward. Second Lieutenant John Shoestack is a top 10% active duty and distinguished military graduate from Huntsville, Alabama. He is branched to the infantry in the active component. Mrs. Christine Shoestack and Mr. Matthew Shoestack will pin Second Lieutenant Shoestack, and Master Gunnery Sergeant Retired Shoestack will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Siddiqui, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Jake Siddiqui is a distinguished military graduate from Apex, North Carolina. He is branched to the infantry in the active component. Mr. Zarek Siddiqui and Mrs. Greta Siddiqui will pin Second Lieutenant Siddiqui, and First Sergeant Sam Diego will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Sizemore, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Julia Sizemore is from Columbus, Georgia. She is branched to the Military Police Corps in the National Guard. Mr. Sam Swinford and Miss Elizabeth Sizemore will pin Second Lieutenant Sizemore, and the former Airman Second Class Worth will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Standridge, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Jack Standridge is from Birmingham, Alabama. He is branched to the infantry in the active component. Sergeant Brendan Hughes and Captain John Zuzich will pin Second Lieutenant Standridge, and Sergeant Griffith will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Thomas, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Logan Thomas is from Daphne, Alabama. He is branched to field artillery in the active component. Mrs. Lisa Thomas and Miss Maggie Cowart will pin Second Lieutenant Thomas, and Sergeant First Class Retired Pitts will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Vito, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Richard Vito is from Boynton Beach, Florida. He is branched to the Ordnance Corps in the active component. Miss Allison Vito and Miss Savannah Vito will pin Second Lieutenant Vito, and the former Corporal Vito will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Wharton, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Jacob Wharton is from Arab, Alabama. He is branched to Ordnance Corps in the National Guard. Mr. Larry Houck and Mr. Barry Wharton will pin Second Lieutenant Wharton, and Master Sergeant Decker will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Williams, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Joshua Williams is from Pensacola, Florida. He is branched to military intelligence in the active component. Mr. Kenneth Williams and Mrs. Abigail Williams will pin Second Lieutenant Williams, and the former Senior Airman Carter will render the first salute. Second Lieutenant Zabin, please come forward. Second Lieutenant Zachary Zabin is from Miramar Beach, Florida. He is branched to the armor in the active component. Mr. Daniel Zabin and Mr. Chris Zabin will pin Second Lieutenant Zabin, and the former Sergeant Zabin will render the first salute. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in congratulating the Army's newest second lieutenants. I feel bad waiting until y'all sat down. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the singing of the Army's song. The words can be found in your program. Please be seated.
I don't know about y'all, but my face hurts from all that smiling, so that's pretty good stuff. So ladies and gentlemen, another thanks for just being here with us today, the first of these young officers' careers. Quickly, but to close, I'm going to come back to the Auburn Army ROTC vision, written by these young men and women. Quote, "We remain servant leaders with strong character and grit, founded on tradition. We believe in community and the nation, and we stand ready to meet the challenges of this evolving world." So to the lieutenants scattered all around now, do be ready, be authentic, and whatever you do, be all in. This concludes today's ceremony. People first, winning matters, leadership excellence, and of course, War Eagle. War Eagle! You can invite them up for pictures.
If I can grab all the lieutenants real quick, we're going to take a picture with General Davis, and then after that, all the families, you guys are invited to come take pictures in front of the flags with your lieutenant.